when you're making these decisions, ultimately I think that the decision that you need to make is to go for the life that you want to live, because financial freedom really means nothing if you still don't enjoy the life that you have. Welcome to this video where I want to talk you through my mindset of when I quit my job to be full-time in real estate, and how that parlays over into if you're thinking about quitting your job, if you want to quit your job one day, and hopefully that can help you as you try to reach financial freedom through real estate investing. Now, let me preface this and say that I know several successful people who don't want to quit their job, who continue to work in corporate 9 to 5, and they real estate invest very successfully on the side. And I think that people get that mixed up sometimes, is they think that the sole reason to be a real estate investor is to quit your job and have financial freedom. I think that if you like your job, there's no reason to quit. But if you are a person like me who wanted financial freedom, who didn't want to have to go to a 9 to 5, then this is a video for you. And as I think about my journey, I've been investing in real estate for over 6 years now. And I was fortunate enough to get started whenever I was in college, 19 years old. And when I first got started, I was working downtown in a bar, and really just working, as many shifts as I could to make money, to have money in college. And what I started doing, if you've heard my journey, my story, is I wanted to get in real estate. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I sought out a mentor in my college town and started working for that guy for free, who was already doing real estate investing. That's how I learned in the real world a lot of real estate investing. I mean, I have a degree in real estate as well from University of Georgia, which was just ranked number 3 real estate school in US, which is pretty cool. But I didn't really learn much from the classroom, to be honest with you. I learned a lot of what I know about real estate investing actually doing real estate investing. And so when I first got started working for my mentor for free, I was still working bar. So I would go to class, and I tried to schedule all my classes from 9 to noon. And if I felt a class needed to go to, I would go to it. Go to class at noon, I would instantly get out, and I would go immediately to go work for free for my mentor at whatever project we were doing. My days were super, super full. And I remember in the beginning, I didn't know if real estate was gonna work. I also was trying to figure out what other options should I do with my life to achieve wealth and to achieve financial freedom. So I kind of had multiple different irons in the fire, I guess you'd call it. Like, I was getting tired. I was just working so much. I liked that time period in my life, but also I just knew it wasn't sustainable. When I was working for free, I wasn't working for any sort of guaranteed money. I was working for, in the beginning, absolutely nothing until I learned how to provide value. And then I'd start to do things like get deals under contract, and I'd make $500, or, start to find different ways to make money and provide value that he was willing to pay for. And then, I can just remember thinking at one point, like, why am I wasting my time? Why am I going to work at this bar from 8:30 to 2, 3, 4 a.m.? Say hey to my dog. Because on some nights I'd make $300 or $400 working at the bar. On other nights I'd make $60, $70, $80. Not a lot of money for the amount of time that was being spent. And I remember thinking to myself, like, why am I spending my time when I'm so tired doing the bar work? It was guaranteed money. I was guaranteed to walk away with more money than I had. But I remember going into the mindset of, well, I'm really learning how to make a lot of money over here in real estate. Now, it's not instant money. I can't walk into a day of real estate work and walk out with more money in my pocket, because the way real estate works is you make no money, no money, no money, no money, then you make a lot of money, then you make no money until you start to buy properties, and then you make a steady amount of money. But when you're first getting started, you don't really make a ton of money at first. You have to put the work in to get it out. And I remember having put the work in and say, I'm on the cusp of consistently making good money in real estate. I need to stop, and I need to just go all in on the real estate thing. Now, I was lucky enough that I didn't have, huge life expenses and a family and everything, so it may be different from you. But I remember thinking that it's not instant money, and as humans, we like that instant gratification a lot, but it's not the instant money, walking away with cash in my pocket, but it is more money over the long run. And so I remember that the first time that I quit my bar job and just transitioned into going full-time real estate, it was a knowing sacrifice that next week, 2 weeks, probably a month from now, I'm going to have less money in my bank account. But in 4 or 6 months, I know I'm going to have way, way more money than I would if I continue doing what I'm doing. Even if I'm working at both of them, I know that if I could put the same amount of energy and effort into the real estate side as I was putting into the bar side, then I would just make way more money over the long run. And that ended up happening, and it really ended up accelerating my career. So the first time I remember quitting my job is whenever I knew that I could at least survive. I knew that I wasn't going to have a huge upside or be, a millionaire in a week, but I knew that I could survive, and I knew that the upside over the long run was greater for me. And I think that that's a really important step in quitting your job, is knowing what you're going to do to get to those next steps of making money. Now, that doesn't mean you have to know every single step, but having the confidence in the game plan. And so if you're wanting to quit your job, but you don't have those next steps in front of you of actions you can take, and if you haven't already been taking those actions, the unique thing for me was I was taking those actions, and I just said, I want to do these same actions, but with more frequency. I want to do this more and get the result. And so if you want to quit your job, but you really don't have any idea, I wouldn't recommend you quit your job. I'd recommend you put in the work, 2 extra hours a day of learning the real estate game, whether it's watching YouTube videos, whatever it is, reading books in order to get a base level education. But then, as soon as you have a base level education, just start doing it, right? Just start doing it. Start analyzing deals. Start making offers on deals. That's how you actually make progress. And then once you get to the place of you're seeing some traction, you understand the process, you don't have everything figured out, but you understand how you can make money in it. When I should quit my job is just a function of when I know the actions I should be doing, and I just need my time to do those actions more frequently, right? So that's lesson number 1. The other lesson that I want to kind of pivot you around and talk to you about is the time period whenever I went from, okay, I'm working full time for my mentor, not doing the bar anymore, into, several years later when I said, I'm going to stop working with my mentor and I'm just going to go out all on my own. Because that wasn't necessarily a job, but it was an ending of a time period of my life that I think that, a lot of people are just really afraid of the change that comes with ending a time period in life. Even if the time period in their life now isn't great, it's what they know, right? And that was really, really scary for me, because just as things work, I find deals, find value add deals, deals ramp up. I wasn't making just a ton of cash instantly, and I was putting all my time into this. Now, I made 7 figures in equity for sure by the time that I was, 22, 23, easy. But I just didn't have a lot of cash on hand. And I remember thinking to myself that I was going into this partnership and continuing doing deals with my mentor, who had a lot of cash because he'd been doing this for so long. That snowball had built up for him, and we just weren't on the same wavelength, because if I wanted a lot of cash, then I needed to run a different game plan than what he was running, and we just disagreed on decisions that should have been made inside of the investments we had together. So I remember thinking, okay, I've learned a lot from my mentor. He definitely still provides a ton of value, but in order to achieve my goals, then I'm gonna have to switch. So maybe you're not quitting your job. Maybe you're trying to end a partnership where you and your partner aren't aligned. And that's even scarier when things are good and you are making progress towards your end goals, but it's just not going exactly the way you want. But what I want to tell you is that instantly after I made that change, which is really scary for me, it opened me up to do things that I wanted to do. It opened me up to doing things like writing a book, like writing multiple books, starting a YouTube channel, starting a coaching program, doing deals that I wanted to do in the way that I wanted to do them, refinancing those deals when I wanted to do them, raising money from the investors that I wanted to raise money from. And so that, while it was less of a fundamental pivot, it had more of an impact on my life than the initial one did, which was going from working a bar in real estate to working full-time real estate, but now working full-time real estate my way. And the lesson that I want you to wean out of that is maybe maybe you don't have a job, maybe you own a business, and you could say, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm making money, but I'm not living life the way that I want to live life. And it's really scary when things are good and going towards your goals, but they're not exactly the way you are. One of the things I want to tell you is that decision that I made is probably the best decision that I've ever made in my life. And I oftentimes think about what my life would look like if I didn't make that decision, and instead I choose to tell myself, well, I'm progressing towards my goals. Yeah, things aren't perfect, but things are pretty good. You guys wouldn't know me, you wouldn't be watching this video, you wouldn't have read my book, you wouldn't have done any of those things. And so making the decision, I guess what I want to tell you is that whether you're quitting your job, whether you're ending a business, whether you're changing a partnership, whatever it is, it's always worth it in the end to progress towards the life that you want to live, the ultimate life you want to live, not part of the life you want to live, the ultimate life you want to live. So if you're quitting your job, just think about, again, what I said on the first part, which is, do I see a way to survival? Can I at least survive and take care of myself and have the game plan in achieving the upside? And once you've started to achieve that upside, ask yourself, are things the way that I ultimately want them to be? Do I have any part of this that is not perfect for me? And what am I going to be doing differently now that will have a substantial impact to get me to where I want to be? So I know those are kind of some soft lessons, but more fundamental of when you're making these decisions. Ultimately, I think that the decision that you need to make is to go for the life that you want to live, because financial freedom really means nothing if you still don't enjoy the life that you have, right? You could be financially free, but if the life that you're going down every single day isn't the way you ultimately want it to be, financial freedom doesn't mean much other than you don't worry about money. You still worry about other parts of your life. So I hope that was helpful. Love you guys. Do me a favor, if you like this, hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, who's thinking about quitting their job. In the meantime, be great. I'll see you in the next video.